narrative? Well, a personal narrative is a story about you. It is a small moment story that is true about you, okay? A small moment story that is true about you, okay? Personal narrative is a small moment story that is true about you. It is something that you have either done or has happened to you. So, to get our small moment stories, to get those ideas for our personal narratives, we have to decide between watermelon and seed ideas. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you what those are. So, we have watermelon ideas, and we have seed ideas. So, what is a watermelon versus a seed idea? So, a watermelon idea is an idea that is very big. It is a very broad idea, meaning it's not specific, okay? It's a big idea. It is very broad, okay? It's just like a watermelon. It's very big, it's very broad. There are usually too many details, and it is not zoomed in enough, meaning it tries to talk about more than one thing. But when you're talking about a personal narrative, you only want to talk about one small moment. So that means we need seed ideas. Seed ideas are one specific moment. Seed ideas are very specific, okay? Like I said up here. They are zoomed in, meaning it's very little. It's not big, it's very little, okay? You include specific details, and it's about a specific time. Okay, so now you're probably going, okay, so that's watermelon versus seed. So what's an example of that? Okay, I need an example because I'm like, this is still kind of confusing. So an example of this would be my trip to the beach, okay? All right, well, that's great, Miss Chandler. You're gonna write an idea about your trip to the beach. All right, well, when I write about my trip to the beach, I'm gonna tell you about how I built sandcastles. I'm gonna tell you about how I went in the ocean. I'm gonna tell you about how I went to get ice cream after. I'm gonna tell you about how I ate on the sand. I'm gonna tell you about how I got stuck in the sand. Then I'm gonna tell you about the car ride home. Oh my goodness, that is way too many ideas, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, that was 6 different ideas in one story. That's too many ideas. I can't keep up with that many ideas. Too many. So now let me get a seed idea. Let me go more specific, okay? I'm gonna zoom in on my beach trip, and I'm gonna pick one moment in my beach trip. Well, let's see. My one moment in my beach trip I'm gonna pick is when I built sandcastles at the beach. Okay? So, I'm talking about when I built sandcastles at the beach. That's my one specific moment. I'm talking about when I built sandcastles. So I'm going to tell you how I built the sandcastles. I'm going to tell you what materials I used. And I'm only going to talk about sandcastles. That's it. I'm not talking about anything else. Okay? So now, this is watermelon versus seed. Okay? These seed ideas are one specific moment, one specific time. These watermelons are giants. Okay? So now we're going to look at some examples and we're going to sort some examples out. Okay? So